Uh,
Drop the beat now.
hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today?
How y'all doing today? Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday.
Yeah.
It is actually Sunday.
It
right?
is.
We normally don't record on Sunday.
No, we normally have been had this done through the week.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother story. Oh, man. So, yeah, we want to welcome you to the Marriage Can Heal podcast.
Yes,
My name is Pedro.
My name is Tara. We're your hosts.
Yes. And this is what now?
Marriage Can Heal podcast. Season 3, episode 14.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, we're going to be talking about
work with me now.
well, we're going to be talking about setting the tone in our marriage, but also reflecting that towards you guys, and hopefully someone can receive something from it to think about how you can set the tone in your own marriage.
First off, we're going to pray.
Yes.
All right. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for waking us up this morning. We want to thank you, Lord, for letting us make it through the day so far. We ask this, we go into the new week, that you'll be with us in everything we do and say, that we'll do it to your love and to your knowledge that you have given us to be the best that we can be. Be with our family and our friends, be with this podcast as we talk about the tone in a marriage, and that you will help us to help somebody as you help us each and every day. For this, I pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Wow. We had an uneventful day yesterday.
Yeah. We actually started recording.
Yes, we did.
And we have a new setup.
Yeah.
And my, I'm not going to say my wife, but my wife did hit the button.
You see, you're not setting the tone. You're not setting the tone, okay?
But to be fair, wait. To be fair, I didn't notice it either. And I'm sitting right in front of the same screen.
The same board.
So to be fair, I did not see it. So we both did not see it. We started recording the show. And we was talking. Just
going.
And about 45 minutes into it, Tara looks down. She's like, oh, man, wait. She hits the buttons. And then
we was on mute the whole time.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I said to her, if you knew that we was on mute, we should have stopped right then.
We
talked for another 20 minutes.
We did, but you know what? I did not realize that. I don't know why I thought that it'll still pick up the audio, but obviously it didn't. When it's muted, it's muted.
Yes.
Point blank.
So I was like, we could have stopped and started. I'm not doing this again. Look,
no.
You have to just wake up in the morning
and do it.
So here we are. And there we go.
But hopefully, we'll be able to remember some things that we spoke about yesterday. And if not, God give us new beginnings. So,
I'm pretty sure you can remember. I mean, we started off by talking about how our week was going.
Yeah.
And we talked about church yesterday when we went to church, what the elder spoke about. And I did Talking Point, which comes on Saturdays between 5 and 7.
Yes.
On Adventist Radio London. And we had a show about siblings.
Yes.
And the different the way siblings can be. We had a couple of guys on. We had 2 guys on that talked about, I think it was a 12-year difference in age.
Right.
And how they grew up together. And how it was being a sibling, him being the oldest and the other one being the youngest, how their dynamic changed throughout the years as they became adults, because they lived in, I think it was Barbados, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't listen to the first part.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, right. They came to the UK as adults.
Yeah.
So how their relationship had changed.
Right.
And then we had Junior, identical twin sister from Alabama.
No one believed that I actually had.
Yeah. We had her on, and that was fun. They didn't believe me that you was identical twin until she popped up on the screen, and it was like, wait, she really is identical. I'm like, I've been saying that since day one. Like, what's wrong with you people? Oh, you think I'm lying?
Oh.
Like, it's amazing. Actually, you know what? I think that is something that most people do.
Seeing is believing for some
Yeah,
people.
and yeah. So, for some reason, you can say, "Oh, I'm identical twin." They're like, "Yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, identical." And then when they say, "Wow, you really died. You guys really do look alike."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Wait, really?" And I'm like, "I know they're identical."
But yeah.
But so yeah, that was fun. So we went through that process, and I think one of my co-hosts, she had her sister on,
Mhm.
and she's in the US too.
Right.
And they didn't look alike. They looked alike a little bit,
They
but
had
they
some
have more
features. Some
right. But
features,
it
I'm
was
sorry.
one thing like I
Yeah.
said in the show, everybody, all siblings, they all had like you all had the same mannerisms, the way you moved your face and stuff.
Mhm.
You and your sister, obviously.
You're right.
And then even the two gentlemen, and then the co-host and her sister, they laughed kind of the same. They kind of raised the eyebrows the same. It was kind of weird. I was like, wow. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing that show.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed doing that show.
Mhm.
So that was good.
Yeah, and the other thing we touched on about the message that was received, sorry, on Sabbath was that how families can change the way things are in a generational way, and how
Change the
we
generational curse.
yes, and how we can change our attitudes and change how we do things and how we live our life, so our children can then pick up that change that we are doing to then better themselves in the
Mhm.
future in their lives. So basically, in a nutshell, to if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and your children see what you're doing, they're gonna pick that up. Whether it's drugs or whether it's being abusive or whatever it is, they can pick up that because that's what they saying.
Mhm.
And the way we break those things is to change how we are as individuals, as people, and allowing God to change us from the inside out. And when we allow Him to do that, He could then use us to then change our families. But then He's slowly making it, He's slowly changing us so we can be better people in the future for the generation to come to be able to then, you
Right.
know, go off what we showed them, and it's
Right.
amazing how so many families are broken because of how things are set in the home and what they have seen their parents do. You know what I mean? And some families are doing good. They're not putting it all on the bad things, but you do have some people setting the tone pretty good for their families where they, like if they going to school, if they trying to better themselves, if they trying to stop drinking, if they trying to stop doing those things that's got them to where they are. People can change. I believe God can use people and change people if they want to be changed. So
Right.
they families can be better.
Yeah, because I think I mentioned that like one of the main things like racism.
Yes.
Racism is definitely a generational curse
It's taught.
because it's taught. It's not
Mhm.
even just taught. It's not even really taught. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's taught, but
it's
it's
taught.
more what you just said. If they see it,
Mhm.
I think subconsciously sometimes as parents we could say certain things
Mhm.
and it makes a child think, oh well, you know what, I don't, and then they start making their own assumptions
Right.
instead of if you just talk about the different things.
Mhm.
So like I know for a fact like that's why racism is not going to change until people can
Change how they are.
change how they are and
Mhm.
how they think of other people,
Mhm.
other ethnicities,
Mhm.
white, black, Chinese, Asian, Muslim. I mean, just change the narrative
Right.
of how we think of other people.
Yeah. It
Because
always
that
starts with the
right,
person.
because when the kid hears the parent talking, or those people, or these people, or that,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
they grow up saying, "Oh, those people, these people,"
Yeah, pretty much.
and so it's definitely one of the that's the first thing that pops in my head when it comes to generational curse.
Yeah.
You could have talked. I had to cough for a minute. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
So that was one of the things I thought about when we was talking about generational curses and some of the things that we, set in the tone in the family.
Mhm.
Um, but then we was also talking about David and how he was doing things and then his children saw it, so then his children started doing bad things too because they was like, well, he's doing bad, I could do bad.
Well, yeah, because if
And
you say if mama doing it and if daddy doing it, then why can't I do it?
then why can't I? It
You
must be
know,
okay.
I see my aunties and stuff doing. I see everybody else doing it. Why I can't do it? I
Mhm.
guess it's okay. So some things
I
can
don't even think
become.
it's about aunties. I think
No,
it's
I'm just
more.
saying.
I know, but
I'm
I
just
think
saying
it's more.
anybody can be an example for you in your life. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, depending. Not everybody is raised by their parents. You
Yeah,
got some
I
people.
get what you're going.
No, I'm just saying you got some people raised by grandma,
Mhm.
granddaddy, auntie, or whoever took the time to say, okay, I'm gonna take in this child. Depending on who that is, can also reflect how they are as going forward
Yeah, I
in
got
their
you.
lives.
I realized where you was going at first. At first,
Yeah.
you said, then I realized you was going with,
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody's raised by their mother, or their father,
That's
because
right.
things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not always have your
So
mother
we
and your father.
all, I feel that changing things it can be a wide thing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got to just be in the home where it can be changed and come within a person. It could be with any person. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what I was looking towards, and that's what we want to do in our marriage is to set it. So I think that's something we had to learn in our marriage, even in the beginning. We didn't, if you know, how we are now is basically how our parents was
Hmm.
and how we grew up and setting the tone, for our children. And I think in the beginning of our marriage, we didn't always display those things that we was taught or learned from our parents because we was doing our own thing and we was learning each other, trying to navigate through the problems that we was having in our marriage that caused us to have a system of breakdown
Yeah,
at some point.
but that's the thing though. I think because of the fact the way we saw it, the way our parents raised us,
Mhm.
even though we was going through those rough patches,
Mhm.
it allowed us to push through and not give up.
Yeah, because
Because if we had parents that divorced early
mhm.
or gave up or just was like, you know what, or had multiple partners,
Mhm.
say how it is. If they, if your mama left your father or my mother left my father and then had multiple partners, or then that's the thought process I would have.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, oh, I can just,
Start over with
start
someone
over with
else.
somebody else. Exactly. But the fact we saw how they, well, my mother got married later,
Mhm.
not to my father, but to my stepfather, but my
Right.
father.
Mhm.
And I saw how their relationship was, even through the rough patches.
Mhm.
When they first got married, they had a lot of rough patches. I saw how they pushed through.
Great.
And
And
you had your mother and father from birth. So you
definitely.
saw how they pushed through.
And they had
So
some hard
that's,
times
and I'm
and
saying, but that's what
mhm.
I'm saying. So because you saw that,
Mhm.
you was willing to like, I'm gonna work on my marriage, I'm gonna work on my husband.
Right.
I'm going, I know it's rough right now. It's not the best ideal
Mhm.
for our marriage,
Mhm.
but you know what? I'm not gonna give up yet. I'm gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing,
Right.
you know.
Because you can always throw in the towel in your
Hmm.
marriage and be done with it and say you want something new, but something new only lasts, a short time. It's only go for a
It's
minute.
not always green on the other side.
Right. So, you know what you have and what you're dealing with in that situation, unless you're in a situation where things are just unbearable and you just, things are getting dangerous and you have to do what you have to do. I get that. But if you're in a situation where you're able to work things out and just start praying for your spouse and, either individually or together, but just working things out, not be so quick to be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
But, everybody is different.
like famous phrase they use now for marriages, because I think back in the day it used to be inconsolable differences, or
Hmm.
irreconcilable differences.
Hmm.
Now it's we grew apart.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah.
how did you go? We all gonna,
We all
trust me.
changing in marriage.
Exactly. We've
We
been married 17 years and
Yeah.
we still have days where we
Yeah.
just don't want to be around each other. We're just like,
Yeah.
you know what?
I
You're
think
irritating me
right, yeah,
today.
in marriage, you gonna not that you're growing apart. You both are getting older. You both are seeing things differently. You're not
Hmm.
gonna always see things the same, but you come together and talk about those things that are different. Talk about how you changing as a person because I'm changing as for me,
Hmm.
and you changing for Pedro. So we both are changing in our own ways, but we also bringing that together, and talking
Hmm.
about how we feel and how we change and we seeing each other change. So, when you see your spouse changing for the better, I think we need to recognize that and be like, you're not like you used to be. Just bringing it to acknowledgement that
Oh,
that,
you
that
change
you
as you get older.
yeah, that you seeing the change in the person because sometimes just if you noticing that your spouse is trying to do better and being better and they ain't doing like they doing before in the past. They doing things differently. They seeing what you like and what you don't like and and when you start actually, recognizing that in your spouse, then you can better communicate. You can better talk and things can be somewhat different in your marriage to try to make that marriage stronger.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. That's why I laugh when people say we grew apart, but I still love him or I still love her. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, if you still love him, you could be together.
Yeah, but I think sometimes people can get, in general, I think we can get complacent and we can just be like, I don't want to deal with it. That type of thing,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
but it's all in what a person want to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we have this video getting into our topic. What this guy is going to be talking about, men set the tone in a relationship.
In a
Um,
marriage.
yeah, but that's what the title says. The title says men set the tone in a relationship, but we're
Okay.
going to revolve that around all
Marriage.
marriages and
Yeah.
our marriage and how we can set the tone, period.
Okay.
So yeah. So we're going to share this video with you guys, something new that we're doing. Um, and we're just going to play it. So yeah.
Tone of a relationship, the woman creates the atmosphere of it.
Love it.
So if a man goes in and he sets a tone, I had to set a new tone in my house, which now the tone that I'm setting, Kim creates the atmosphere for. I get home, it's peace in there. It's welcoming in there. It's warm in there. Sometimes I go in there, good pot of beans cooking, and because the atmosphere is right. But it didn't, I at first was expecting her to set the atmosphere so it can change my tone. But I'm the man in this relationship. So the man has to go in, set a new tone in his house, and watch that woman create an atmosphere. She can't even help herself. She created to create an atmosphere for you. That's the way God wired her. And because your tone is off and your harshness is there and you don't quite understand who she is, the Bible says, husband, dwell with your wife according to knowledge. Learn who your wife is.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna pop off this real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was reading, he brought up the text 1 Peter 3, verse 7.
Mhm.
And I just want to read the whole verse to give a better context of what he was saying.
Okay.
I mean, he pretty much said it, but he kind of just, gave about a quarter of the text.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to read that. And again, it's 1 Peter 3, verse 7. And it says, I'm reading from the New Living Translation.
Okay.
In the same way, your husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should. Your prayers will not be hindered.
Mm.
So I wanted to just read the whole text because I think sometimes we get a part of the text and we don't get the whole context.
Yeah.
In 1 Peter, Peter's talking about, in the beginning, he talks about men and actually wives and their duties to the husband, submitting, things of that nature. Then he starts talking about husbands and how husbands should treat their wives. And then he starts talking about Christians and how we should treat people. And then, suffering for doing good. It's just different. He's just talking to the church.
Right.
In this chapter, but we're just going to stick to this verse. And I wanted to do this because I saw this video and I was like, wow, I think back in the day when we first did get married,
Right.
my tone was way off.
Mm.
I can see exactly what he's talking about. The tone was way off in the sense of that I would come home mad all the time.
Especially if we had an argument
Well,
before.
yeah, but we had a lot of arguments, and that was
Yeah.
a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of arguments on the phone.
Right.
Like our arguments, we argue now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna say we don't argue. We do argue now.
Mm-hmm.
We do have disagreements. You can get a little emotional, and and honestly, I can get a little emotional sometimes. I can get in my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
We both get in our feelings.
We do.
But I think now, like just like the other day, we was talking about something, and you could talk, and you asked me a question, and my response was not what you wanted.
Right.
So you got in your feelings and got upset with me. It was like,
I can't even remember what exactly what it was.
Because that's how silly it was.
It was silly. But I had to realize that.
Oh, I know what it
can't
was.
suspect for you.
I know what it was.
Go ahead.
I know what it was.
What was it?
You had got a letter that stated that you had that everything was okay.
Right.
because you had some tests done and you was just,
With some
concerned
health issues, yeah.
with some health issues and you was concerned, and you call me up and be like, oh, I got the letter and they say everything is good. I'm like, well, I always knew everything was good. I wasn't worried about it. And you was just like, really? Like, yeah.
I was like, that's
it. I'm like, yeah,
You're
because
not gonna say
I
nothing
told
else.
you from the I told you from the jump, stop worrying, stop stressing.
Yeah.
I've not been stressing. Yeah, you've been stressing.
Yeah.
You've been stressing the heck
And
out
I
of
guess,
it all the time.
right. And I guess
I'm
for
like,
me, I just wanted for some reason, I wanted a different response from you. And I can't suspect for you to respond the way I want you to, because at the end of the day, you're not me. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to respond like me.
no, I'm
I
not.
can't suspect for you to act like me, think like me, and react the way I want you to, the way the response I guess I was looking for from you. I can't suspect for you to be like my clone or something where you just Pedro going to react. I know he's going to react like this, but you reacted in your way, in Pedro's way. Like,
But the
not
thing
that
about
it's a
it,
bad way, but I'm
no.
just saying you responded like you always respond to things.
But that's what I was
Yes.
good. Listen,
Yes.
I was
So
consistent in my response.
You was.
Because
You
from
was.
day one, I responded the same way.
Yes, but I was just looking for a different response, and I was just
But
like,
I wasn't
why
going.
you not
I've
responding
never
that way?
gave you a different response.
Yeah, I was looking for something more. I don't know. Because because I know I can be emotional about certain things, and sometimes period, because I'm passionate about some things, and I guess I'd be wanting you to respond like that, and I have to think that
Doesn't mean I'm not passionate.
No, I know, but you passionate in your own way. I'm saying,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you're a man, and you're going to respond differently to certain things than I suspect for you too. So I have to respect that. When you respond in how Pedro responds.
No, see, no, I not just how Peter respond.
Not that it's a bad
I'm about
response.
to say something. I'm about to say
A
something.
bad response.
No, I respond in the tone that the husband should respond.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to keep you calm.
Keep me at
So
bay.
if I respond to what you want me to respond, we're both sitting there freaking out. Just like you're looking for a piece of identification.
Yes.
You can't find it. You're freaking out a little bit. And as it gets closer to the time, you're like, I can't find it. But what have I consistently said to you?
Babe, we're gonna find it.
It's gonna be all right.
And you know what
I'm
saying? Then where is it then? Because it ain't found yet.
All right. But I say we still got a little bit more time.
Yeah.
It's not time to panic yet. We're gonna find it.
Yeah.
And I've been consistently saying that since the beginning. That's what I like. That's the tone that I have learned over the years to respond.
Yeah.
I don't freak out. It's only when it's like really, and then even then I don't freak out. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out what we need to do. You know, I'm not gonna freak out, because freaking out, you freak out and then the problem is still there anyway. So it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
So let's figure out how we can fix the problem.
Right.
We've said that before.
I think one thing I'm learning now in our marriage is to know that I can't suspect for you to respond like me. I think that's where I'm at right now. And I think I'm growing in that area of knowing that.
And when you
that's
listen
how
to
it's
me,
going to be.
And when you listen to me, everything turns out okay.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, initially.
Yeah, it does. Even though you don't see it,
I don't see it.
I look ahead. I see the future. I'm not a thing. I just know that it's gonna work out.
Yeah, because
I have
and I'm
gonna say I have faith.
Okay,
not saying that you don't have faith.
Yeah, I do have faith.
You do have faith, but you just at that moment kind of lose a little bit of it. Like, oh, well, and I'm just like, I have faith it's gonna be fine. Yeah. So you know what? Calm down. It's gonna be okay. And that's part that, like I said, that's what probably in the past I wouldn't have been like that.
No,
I would have been like, why would you lose it? Why would you not keep more thing of it? Yeah. Like, why didn't you put it somewhere where you could find it?
I thought I'd put it somewhere I can find it.
But I'm just saying, in the past, that was what the tone would have been different.
Yeah.
Because I was so angry and mad all the time that my response to you would have been a totally different response, which then would have freaked you out even more.
Right.
Then you would have got mad. Then you would have got defensive. Then you would have started saying things, and then I would have started saying things, and that's how the whole argument would have built up, and then next thing you know,
and that's how you have small little
Next thing you know, because we never argued about big things. Our arguments are always about simple little things that could just easily been squashed.
Yeah,
and that's why now, even when we have an argument, we're able to squash the argument faster because. Like you said, when you said that to me, and my response was, well, I knew you was going to be fine. you got mad at me. You got into your feelings. And I said, well, I've been saying this since the beginning. And then you was like, okay, then we hung up. And then you text me. He was like, you know what? I was thinking about it. And you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I got a little emotional. I expected your response to be different. And I'm like, but I'm not going to change my response.
Yeah.
Because I kept my tone at an even keel the whole time.
You did.
You know, I never went up or high, never got mad. I never, said, like, what's your problem? I just was like, it's going to be okay. I knew it was going to be okay. I have faith it was going to be okay. So that's why I was saying that I knew that everything was going to work out.
Right.
And that's the tone. I know we was talking yesterday. I was saying I didn't realize I realized how much God has brought me from my past until now, where even people are starting to see the difference in my tone and the difference in how I am. Like every morning I wake up and, say good morning to you, of course.
Right.
I say a prayer to myself, get up. Now, I'm one is a busy, so we don't get to worship as a family most times. We do pray before we leave.
Right.
But, it's just the way it is because, we have to wake up really early and get everybody ready to go to school and I have to go to work. But this week while the kids were out of school, I was noticing that I was doing something, didn't realize what I was doing. But then I thought about, I said, why am I doing this? And then I said, it makes sense. So it's not just setting the tone with you, but setting the tone with the kids.
With the kids, yeah.
So I will wake up, say my prayer, I'll go down. And my son, he's always up. Junior's always up.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he still wakes up early, even though he's out of school. And so I'll knock on the door. Hey, son, how you doing? Good morning.
Right.
You have a good morning. You brush your teeth, wash your face. No, not yet. I'm going to. Okay, well, you could have did it since you've been up. That's always a conversation. And then, he's like, oh, you going? Where you going? I'm like, I'm going to work. He's like, oh man. I'm like, yeah. Well, I gotta go to work. We got bills to pay. We got food to. You guys eat like like y'all, like you're losing food. So I gotta go, buy food.
Right.
Need money for that.
Yeah.
But I was noticing that I was being very positive about it because sometimes you wake up, you don't really feel like going to work, and some mornings I didn't feel like going to work. I'm dreading
going.
Right, but I was like, I got to go to work. I love doing it. I got to go to work. It's something that when you get older, you're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
So this is what a man does.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, cool, no problem. Well, have a good day. Love you. I'll see you when you get back. And I was like, man, like that setting the tone to the children along with my wife is part of my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, as men, we need to set the tone because now he sees that I'm going to work. I'm not upset, but I'm happy to go to work.
Yeah.
So when he knows when he gets older, he's going to be like, well, I got to go to work to provide for my family.
Right.
I know that setting the tone does allow also before I leave, give you a kiss on the cheek or, give you a kiss on the lips, whatever, whatever, depending if we brushed our teeth.
Yeah. And we ain't got no cold. Don't play with it.
If you don't got no cold, yeah. I still kiss you on the lips when you got a cold, but you say, you're going to get my cold. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll get your cold. I don't care. But, you don't like that. But anyway.
Yeah.
The kids always be like, ew, but whatever. They'll get over it too. I mean, all these years, you'd think they get used to it by now. But anyway, that's setting the tone. And then I remember, didn't I tell you there's I remember seeing that clip where the guy said if you kiss your spouse for 6 seconds a day.
Yeah, 6 seconds a day.
6 seconds a day,
together,
right? Right, like instead of just peck, you kiss for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It causes things to happen that will make the day go well.
Yeah.
For each other.
Yeah.
And so, we'll then I go to work. And I think setting the tone in the family in the sense of, as a man, just making sure that I do what I need to do and make sure that everything is taken care of. And then that's where the atmosphere comes in. So now I'm doing my part by doing that.
Right.
And now my wife is doing her part by doing the things that she has to do.
Right. We all have a job to do. We all have a job to do.
So again, for me, like setting the tone is not just, or Tara will say, and she and this is the thing. I drive for a living. I drive all the time.
Yeah, all day.
So every time we have to go somewhere, we have to drive.
Mm-hmm.
So some days I just don't feel like driving. Go to the park, we got to drive. Go here, we got to drive. Go, and I'm just like, man, I don't feel like driving. But I know that I have to set the tone. So even though some days I don't feel like doing it, I do it anyway because I know it's good for the family. Especially going to the park. We go for a nice stroll, a walk, whatever. Just go and just sit down for a little while in the park. The kids love it. They get to run around and burn all the energy they have, especially the 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Because she's got energy for days. We do that, and then it's setting the tone. We get back home, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Everybody's is like, okay, I've had my fun. I've been with mommy and daddy. I've been to the park. I got the swing. I got the run. I got the jump.
All of these
Now,
things.
And it just releases a great atmosphere within the house.
It does. It does.
And so it just changes the mood that we have towards each other. And so I think as a man, we set the tone. What he was saying, I come home, my wife is cooked, the kids are fed. Sometimes they've already taken a shower and they just sitting around chilling.
Yep.
Waiting for me to get home so they could jump on me, especially the girls.
Yeah.
And and then they asked me how my day was. I asked them how their day was. Asked Tara how her day was. Things of that nature. We just have a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Throughout the house. And
I like that. I really do, because it caused a calmness to come across the house, and we able to talk to each other without any type of hostility or anything like that. We just, just enjoying each other as a family. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to really, take heed to that, because, situations can change so quickly, and sense of being, mad all the time, or, upset about something petty, just getting through the day and just learning to listen to each other, take time to communicate in a proper way to each other. I just think, once we do those tools that we need to do to grow as a family, then things can get better,
oh yeah, they definitely get better
in how we respond and talk to each other and stuff like that. So
because by me setting the tone in that way. Also, one other thing I changed too is, remember I used to come home and then I'll go right upstairs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you used to come home from work. You'll say hey and everything, but
I talk for a minute and then I'll go upstairs and I'll stay upstairs for like 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes longer. And I've actually changed that. I don't know if you noticed. I've actually stayed.
I do notice.
I stay in the living room now.
Yeah.
And I'll come down. I may go upstairs to change or take my bag upstairs.
Right.
But then I come back down. And then, they were sitting there talking. We have dinner. So if I get home in time for dinner, it doesn't bother. It's not that if I like it. I enjoy it because I see the difference. It's just like me changing the tone by taking the kids to school in the morning.
Yeah.
I see the difference of dropping them off to the bus stop and then taking them to school. I try my hardest to take them to school. Some days I can't take the youngest, but I can take the oldest. But I do notice the difference by me doing that.
Right.
So it's just changing the dynamic of how I do things. When I come home in the evening, I do enjoy it because, the kids are talking, they're laughing, we're joking around with, tell me how their day was.
Yeah.
I do see the difference. They like it.
I like it.
You don't like it.
I do.
Whatever.
I do.
But I do notice the difference. So yeah, I do like it. I'm not gonna say, because some days I am tired, but I still stay downstairs.
Yeah.
And we'll talk and then end up being down for the whole evening.
Yeah.
Some days. And it's just I didn't really go upstairs because I was trying to get away from the family. It's just sometimes, I'm driving, so I'm all I'm hearing is noise.
Right.
And
when you come home, it's noise.
It's noise because the kids, they can be rambunctious and very loud.
Yeah.
And and just overly excited.
Yeah.
And so I just want that peace for a minute.
Yeah, the quietness.
Right, the quietness. But what I have done is, if sometimes when I get home, I sit in the car for about 10 minutes before I come in the house.
Yeah.
Which I've always done.
Yeah.
But now that part is good enough for me. So I sit in for about 10 minutes before I walk in the house. And then once I come in, because I know once I walk in, it's over with.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of laughter, and I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I know that it's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I need to be all right, I'm ready. Let's go. Boom.
Mhm.
Because our children, I love our children, but they definitely could, they make you work.
Hey,
They make you work
they
like
wouldn't
any
be
other
kids if
children.
they
Yeah,
didn't.
exactly.
They wouldn't be
Exactly.
kids if they didn't.
But I think me setting like we was talking about earlier when you had got upset
Mhm.
and you wanted to you called me up.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, we had discussed it,
Mhm.
and you was like, I'm sorry, thing. In the past, we would have still been mad.
Still been arguing about it.
Right, and
Even
so I
though
would
we
have
had
came in with
Mhm.
with a mad attitude or mad tone.
Right.
You wouldn't have had anything done. So then I'm like, why is no food cooked? Or why is no nothing done? Why is the clothes not done? Why are the kids not bathed? About things of that nature.
Right.
Whereas now, have a calmer tone, you're more like, oh, you want me to cook you you want me to make you some food,
Right.
or and you think about me, sometimes the kids eat all the food, don't leave me any because they greedy like that. And you'll be like, oh, you make you something? I'm like, nah, just make me a bowl of cereal. I'll just make me a sandwich or something.
No, but I make sure you have food, so.
I know you do, but I'm just, sometimes you fight with me to let me cook my own food sometimes. I'm like, I
Well.
just go cook. You're like, no. And I'm like, I can cook, I can make my own food.
Yeah, I understand that. I know you can, but like I said, I like to do and make sure you have what you need. Just like you make sure I have what I need. I'm just saying. That's just
Again,
what I
that's
like
setting
to
the
do.
tone. And
Yeah,
that's what the guy was talking about,
we
was
all,
setting the tone, the
yeah.
atmosphere.
So basically, both people can do that.
Mhm.
Both people can do that.
Well, no,
You
it's
had
not.
something that
See,
you wanted to.
no, wait. It's not about setting. It's not about both people can do it, because remember, we said this last night. I think he said the man sets the tone, the woman creates the atmosphere.
Yeah.
With me setting the tone in the way that I treat you and treat the children. And you said something yesterday that we was talking, which I kind of looked up and it made sense. So I kind of looked it up a little bit.
What was it?
But when setting the tone, it actually sets the tone with the kids set the tone too.
Yeah.
So the kids set the tone where it affects us and how we set the tone.
Right.
But like for me, I'm setting the tone to be calm and loving and just be present in the family life and doing things, playing games, playing Uno, playing snakes and ladders, even though they may get upset when they lose.
They very competitive.
You're very competitive.
Very.
Don't we play the old fashioned Uno? So if you draw it on a draw 4 and then the other one has a draw 4, next thing they picking up 12, 16 cards. And the children be getting mad, like, I don't need all, I give up, and they just want to put the card, but
yeah,
setting the tone, the atmosphere becomes, you control the atmosphere in the house.
Yeah.
Because if your attitude or if your demeanor is off, the house is totally out of whack.
It's in chaos.
Yeah. And so I totally understand what he was saying. So me setting the tone keeps the house, keeps you happy, which then keeps the house happy.
Yeah.
Because I remember the other day you was irritated about you. I don't want people to think you're always irritated, but you wasn't really irritated.
The way you keep going.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want. It's not that, because look, we're human. Todd, we're not perfect in this thing. We, sometimes things irritate us.
Okay, so what was I irritated about?
I don't remember exactly what it was. It was always simple things. It's not really big things that irritate us.
Yeah,
but it was something. And Pedro Jr. came down. He was like, is mom okay?
No, you know what?
You know what?
I wasn't irritated about anything like that. It wasn't irritation, wrong word.
Okay.
I was frustrated.
There you go. That's
because
true.
I was trying to figure out something.
Right.
And
that's true. That's true.
So,
that is true.
Yeah,
you was frustrated.
Let's change that whole language.
All right.
Real
So
quick.
it wasn't irritated. It
so
was
the
actually
language
frustrated.
I was frustrated.
But the kids
about
noticed
something.
But the kids
that I was
noticed,
trying to figure out.
They did it went throughout the whole house.
Right.
The atmosphere changed.
The atmosphere changed tremendously.
And the children was like, mom's frustrated about something. Mom's not happy about something. And
yeah,
I was like,
we just got this new device, and I was trying to figure it out and how to, get it all started.
That's what it was.
So
right.
It was definitely the device. I was trying to figure out how to hook it up and everything. So once I figured it out and it got, the frustration was at cease. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the next day I was able to figure it out.
Yeah, you spent almost a whole day trying to
Yeah,
do
so
it
I,
throughout the day,
so
doing other things. But yeah,
that was the frustration, not the irritation.
yeah. Well, you was a little irritable.
I'm just saying. But
you was a little snappy.
until
You
my
was a little
credit,
snappy with
I
me.
did not take it out on no one. I just said, yes, I'm a little frustrated, and that was it. But you know what? As you remember, after we came up, we was about to have worship. So when you came up and had worship, I was actually good. You know what I'm saying? I was actually good because the worship really just, set the tone, and we was worshiping, and I was good. And I said, you know what? I just figured out tomorrow. I just think sometimes when you just in that heat of the moment, you just like, oh, So that's all it was.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was trying to figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they
That's
definitely
exactly what it was.
could see it right off the back. I was like,
And
wow.
that shows you how things can filter down from one person to the next. Depending on how it is.
But also, if you set the atmosphere, one thing I say about you, you're always hugging on the kids. You're always kissing on the kids.
I love hugging.
Yeah. You're always hugging on me.
Yeah.
You don't like the kiss.
No.
Yeah, I know. But you like the hug.
Kissing was never my thing. You know what I'm saying? And even when we first got together, you kissed me. I was like, I was kind of like,
even like
don't be kissing
cooking together.
Yeah.
I want people to know about that. No, just
I
don't care.
Kissing was never a thing. If I kiss it on the cheek or something like that, or a different part of the body, in the sense of the head, of the
get it right now. Come on,
you say on the neck.
Wait. Why you're just digging yourself? Just let it go.
Just let's move on. But the point is,
you have to go to all.
Okay,
really? Got these people thinking, got them going.
But anywho,
get your minds out the gutter.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is for me. Yeah. So.
Oh, I can't believe you went there like that. Shame on you. Shame.
Shut up.
No, that's not the right one you should be using. Why are you applauding that?
Because
it should be more. It should be more of that. Like, be quiet and hush.
Crickets. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, like I said, then you just cooking with the kids, showing them how to cook. I'm showing them how to do their laundry.
Yeah.
It just, showing them how to clean, keeping the house clean. I don't ask you to do it. You do it because you want to.
Yeah, basically. We all live here together. We all got
and
to
then when
work
I get home, I make sure that I try to do it.
I'm
not always the best. Sometimes I do throw my socks over in the corner.
I can't stand it.
And you like, I can't believe I found your socks underneath the couch, or I found your socks in the corner.
Lord.
I've gotten better. I've gotten better. I have. I haven't got better.
You have. I still find a couple socks.
I know. I'm trying. Sometimes I do it just to, just to keep appearances. I gotta keep it going,
Yeah.
I gotta keep it going. So I do it, so I can,
yeah.
Just keep you on your toes. I like to see if you're paying attention.
But one thing I love, like when we talked about in worship yesterday, is communicating with grace. Making sure when we respond to each other that we're not being harsh, and we thinking about what we're saying and how the person may feel and how they may receive it. We don't always do it, but it's something that we're working on as a family.
Yeah,
I would say. So you had a little piece that was read, and I wanted you to read it.
I know that's why you went to that segue.
So that's why I went there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's a book that we found. Who made it, Peter?
It's by Stanbury Press,
and it's called
Hope for Today's Family.
Hope for Today's Family, and so it was just a little small piece that hubby gonna read real quick on there.
You're making me read. All right,
and it reads.
I forgot where we was. Okay.
Yeah. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think where I'm going to read from because I can't remember where I read from last night. We read and then,
Well, you started right in the beginning. That's what it was.
People who are intentionally about communicating well with their loved ones experience great family relationships. If you think about the people you really like in your family, you can easily admit that the ones you like the best are the ones who make you feel good
Mhm.
because of the way they speak and listen to you.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to tell a story about a man that was running, and his wife, him was running, and he was getting better at it. And so one day he says to his wife that he ran faster on the second half of the run.
Right.
So he says to the wife, "Well, I'm getting better. I've run faster," and her response was, "Well, it was all downhill." So he was like, "Wow, like really, like
Like
you're
you was
gonna,
gonna run fast
yeah,
anyway because
he was gonna run
it was
fast
a
because
level
all the yeah."
playing, you know.
So it kind of hurt his feelings, and kind of a gut punch to his stomach
Yeah.
because he was like, "Well, my goodness, like I expected a different response."
Mhm.
So so that's what I was talking about. Was she wrong to respond that way?
Mhm.
And so even though
It seems
it's
like
not
she
really that.
responded how she actually felt.
Yeah, and it was not really
That's
that
all it
as a
was.
bad thing. He just
Yeah.
is the way he took it, the way she said it.
Yeah, he didn't receive it well
Right.
on his end because he wanted a different response from
So
her.
and that's what talk about communicate with grace. So it was saying that
Yeah.
if you want your family relationship to be healthy and positive, it's important to learn to communicate with grace. And then it says when we say grace, we are talking about the spiritual concept that refers to the unmerited favor and love freely given by God to humans.
Mhm.
Grace is something we do not deserve, just as God forgives our shortcomings, even when we do not deserve to be forgiven.
Mhm.
To communicate with grace means to speak with someone in a way they do not deserve.
Mm.
So that's what we was talking about.
Oh, right, because you
You were saying about
saying speak to someone with grace even though they may not deserve it. So at that moment, that person may be upsetting you or saying something that you don't like. And even though at that time you may not want to give them that grace or speak to them in a certain way, it's best to try to give them that grace and be like, look, I know things may not be where it is, or whatever the situation may be at that time, to
Mhm.
just give it, so it won't go the wrong way. It can go left really
right. So
fast.
in other words, like when you was telling me your situation, instead of me just saying I knew everything was gonna be okay,
Mm,
I was like, I'm glad that everything worked out.
mhm.
I had no doubt. I had faith that God was gonna make it work well, and that you would have nothing to worry about. And if I
Yeah.
said it that way, maybe your response would have been a little bit more. You would have been so upset with my response of just,
Yeah.
oh, I knew it was gonna be like that.
Yeah.
See, we learn.
We do.
So maybe if I did it that way, then you would have been, And
Yeah.
so it's just how we communicate. How
Yeah.
we communicate. It's still much communicating with grace.
Mhm.
You know, God doesn't have to forgive us, but He sent His Son to die for us.
And he give us so much
So He gives us
grace
so much grace
and
and
mercy.
mercy. Mm.
Jinx.
Mhm. So much grace and mercy that that is unbelievable. So why can't we do that for each other as
Mm.
humans?
Because we have a sinful nature, and
Yeah.
the first thing we think of is defense.
Mm-hmm.
We in the defensive mode where anytime we hear us or someone has said something to us that we don't like, we ready to respond in a defensive way. That's just the way it is in some cases.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. Some people feel really offended if you saying certain things that they don't like.
Yeah. And we all talked about how words hurt more than anything else. I hate that phrase that
Mhm.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, because that's such a lie. Whoever said that phrase is lying.
I just think they put it together because it rhymed.
Maybe so.
So
Because
it was a rhyming
I need to
thing.
look up who actually made that
Yeah.
phrase,
A
because
little research, investigation.
that's the most craziest phrase that's unbelievably untrue.
Mm-hmm.
Because anybody tell you words hurt more than, I'd rather get hit by a stick or a stone any day.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe they meant it
I don't
because
want to
sticks
get
and
hit by a stick or stone.
I'm just no, because you heal. You can heal from your bruise.
Right.
But when you get words like cut your heart, they
Well,
cut
that's
you
true,
deep.
because if you get cut by something, it's gonna heal, and then you're
Yeah,
like, oh, I got cut.
yeah.
But then if you saying something to someone, you remember those hurtful words.
Yeah, you never forget them.
Like I remember you said that, and I never
Yeah.
forgot it.
I mean,
It just
being
stick in
okay.
your brain.
Matter of fact, you're forgiving me,
Mhm.
but I'm sure there's still words that I've said to you in the past
Yeah.
that you still remember. It
Mhm.
never leaves.
Yeah.
You just deal with it differently now.
Well, when you in the forgiving status and you trying to put
Listen,
that behind
I'm
you,
not. No,
you're
it's
not trying to
behind
hold
us.
on to old grief.
Right? No, but I'm not saying that you're holding on to it.
Right.
All I'm saying is that we're human.
Right.
So something I could have said to you 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
just matter of the fact, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say it now, or not even say it now, just somehow it is implied or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or as a human, that's how we are sometimes. You know, the devil comes at us like that.
Yeah.
So when you're in your weakest moment or you're upset about something, then you start thinking, well, 10 years ago he said such and such and such. Or I'll say she said such and such and such.
Right.
The words never leave. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how hard you may think you forgive, you forgiven me. I've
Right.
forgiven you.
Right.
We're moved, we're better in a better place now.
Mm-hmm.
But when sometimes when you're in your weakest, that those words will come in you and you won't even remember that they was even said, and all of a sudden it pops up in your head. Why do you think that is?
It's the enemy.
Yeah, it's definitely the enemy, it's the devil, but I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
because the words never leave, even though you may not, like I tell you all the time.
If the enemy ain't always reminding us of something to get something stirred up, then
Matter of fact, case in point, we did a interview with Anika and Brent.
Right.
And for their fight for your marriage podcast that's on YouTube. And we was talking and you brought up something, and I honestly looked at you and I said, I don't remember that at all.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it at all. Nothing about it do I remember.
Right.
But it was something I did to you. And that's what I'm talking about. When so it's not even really like you trying to, you just could be having a conversation.
And it just comes.
And then you're like, wait, I remember when you did this.
But it's amazing how you suppress some things in your mind and until a situation is talked about.
Right.
And then it just comes up. You're like, oh,
right.
you sometimes
exactly.
think
and it happens for me too.
Like, forgot about it.
It happens with me in my past relationships. I'm like, wait a minute, that happened. That really happened. And then sometimes you almost think like, did it really happen?
Did it really happen? Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, it really did happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by, words hurt because they carry
weight
with you.
They carry weight.
They carry with you throughout the rest of your life. That's why I always tell the kids, don't say I hate you. Don't say I just, don't say those words, certain words because it will carry over.
Yeah, because you can't take back everything
No,
you say.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? You
and
can
you stop
apologize
believing. You
and be
stop
like,
believing
I'm sorry that I said that. But at the end of the day, it's already been said.
Yeah, saying it once, saying it twice, now it becomes a pattern. You keep saying it, you people stop believing what you say.
Well, you'll start believing what you're saying.
But exactly. Basically, that's why a white lie works so well. A little white lie, because when you do a little lie, then you have to build on that lie. Next thing you know, that little white lie becomes a big lie because you not believing.
You have to remember what you said.
Yeah, but but that's easy. It's just that it's built to such a point that you start believing the lie yourself.
Yeah.
Even if there's proof that is not real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Words can hurt. Words can really do damage to our psyche.
Yeah.
Into communication, into tone, into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's all about how you say these things, how you say things. And that's why, as a man, I try to keep my tone in an even kill and an even way and just consistent. Yeah. That way the atmosphere stays the same if my tone stays the same.
Yeah.
So I circle back to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's all connected. Communication, tone, atmosphere it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
And one thing I think we have to realize that we're not going to think alike on things. We have to understand it because I understand that men and women are two different creatures.
Well, obviously.
Obviously, but I'm just saying, men think totally
Some
different.
People think, I'm not going to go there.
Men think totally different than women. And when it comes to certain things, they're going to respond differently than women. And, when we recognize that, then, it'll be somewhat of a balance in the relationship. Yeah. What you got?
Just keep talking.
But yeah,
why you in my business? Why you always in my business? Oh, matter of fact, when people don't, exactly. Matter of fact, because we're doing this podcast now, we're doing this show now.
Yeah,
we're wearing different shirts. But my beautiful wife over there yesterday, we have these shirts that says, "I will not fear." I had my shirt on all day. We go to do the program. Who comes down with the same shirt on?
Me. We twins.
We are not twins. We are separate. Okay. All right. Stop trying to imitate, copycat everything I do.
Whatever.
You know.
Whatever.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I'm better looking.
You wish.
Whatever. I am.
Whatever.
And I'm not
Okay, so anyway, moving
Go
forward.
ahead.
Moving forward for once.
I am moving forward. But I forgot what you were saying now. But like I was saying, so communication, tone, you know, as a married couple, men, you know, if you set the tone in your marriage to the proper way, to a loving, a kind, your wife will show that will create the atmosphere that she will, from the love that you're showing her, it will then help your house. And when you and you know, some men say, I don't want to go home because my wife is going to be nagging. Why is your wife nagging? Maybe your tone is not completely there. Maybe your tone is off.
Well, maybe the wife is actually being that way.
Yeah,
you know
I'm not saying. Listen, sometimes.
I'm just saying, because even though I
wife.
understand what you mean about the man setting the tone, however, I think the woman has somewhat of a part to play. That man, you know, if she being a certain way, he'll want to come home to her. Versus,
okay, let me put it this way.
You know, I'm just saying.
Let's say if you was always emotional, because you are emotional,
right?
And you overthought everything, overthink everything, or you self-sabotage. So it makes you think and do things and ask the same question over and over again. If I was to be like, why don't you just make a decision? Or you know, like that would set the tone that you would now get frustrated. But if I'm saying, hey, you know what? Like,
okay, but vice versa. What if a woman is like, you this and you that, and you never do this and you never do that, you never listen to me, you never you never doing what you're supposed to do as a man, you know, bringing a man down.
Yeah,
you think a man want to hear that?
Listen, there's extremes to everything.
I'm just saying, it's
I know that it's extremes. I'm not saying I didn't even say that. That's my point. If he sets the tone as best he can, that's all he can do.
Right.
He can't control how his wife is going to respond.
Yeah. But
that's my point.
But one way we can control it is how we are. If we go into something,
you just made the point about what is she about, you know, this and that. I'm saying it all starts with the man setting the tone.
Right.
If he sets the tone,
excuse me,
and he tries to set the right tone, most women will follow.
Yeah.
Most women. You understand? Because see, we can't get, this is all about, and not blaming the wife. You just said, what if she's like this? I can't control that. If my wife is like that, when I married her, I knew she was going to be like that. So I knew what I was getting when I married her. But still doesn't mean that I can't set the tone. I set the tone. Hopefully she follows. If she doesn't follow, then I try to set a different tone. You just have to keep trying. One thing we learned throughout our marriage is that as the man of the house and as the man in general in the marriage, it don't matter how you respond or how you say things. It's still up to me to set the tone.
Right.
Think about the times when we was having arguments. If I had just, my tone was just a little bit different, how you may have responded. And we may not have went through something. And what we went through, I don't regret, because it made us better as husband and wife. It made our marriage stronger. But you understand what I'm going with this, with the saying that if I had set the tone properly, then definitely your response would have been different. Your emotion would have been calm faster if my tone was different.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So as the man, it don't matter what, you can't say, because men will be like, oh, you made me do this. Nobody made you do anything. You did it because you wanted to.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much just putting out there, as a man, you have to set the tone. No matter the circumstances, the situation, the predicament, whatever it is, you have to set the tone. And that's all I was saying.
Yeah.
You set the tone, everything else will work to what it should work. Doesn't always work, because it's extreme that it may not work. It's possibility. Nothing's 100%.
Right. I understand exactly what you mean about setting the tone, but I also think that depending on who you dealing with, who the woman, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody easy a person to deal with. I'm just saying
you
on the
keep
other
saying
perspective,
that.
because some people may think that.
I know that, but I understand that, but it doesn't matter what the woman's situation. It doesn't matter for that. Stop worrying about what the woman may do as the husband, as the man. You set the tone to the way you want it to be, or the way you feel is good for the family. Not majority, it will work.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I can't sit there and say, well, I can't set the tone because she's not going to listen.
Right.
No, you still set the tone. You still set the tone of listening, doing family things. Because guess what? Maybe she's acting out because you're not doing something that she wants. Have a conversation. Say, look, why are you? What's the matter? What's really going on?
Yeah.
What would you like me to do to make it better for us?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Set the tone.
Yeah. Talk.
Because sometimes women, even men, they act out because they're upset about something.
Yeah.
But they don't want to communicate and say what it is.
Well,
so they just act out.
Yeah, they're holding it in.
So that's what I mean by set the tone.
Yeah.
Just want to read this before we go.
Okay.
Marriage is at once awesome, wonderful, and difficult. Awesome and wonderful because it was designed by the Creator for us to reflect His image. Difficult because it brings together two flawed and imperfect, selfish human beings who became even more flawed and selfish once married. Married couples need to confront this reality and work together as teammates and friends.
Yes.
Together, we must fight the enemy who threatens to destroy our oneness with each other and our oneness with God.
Oh, we're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it right there.
We want to thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you so much, guys.
As we say
what?
This is Pedro.
Oh, and this is Tara.
And this is the Marriage Can Heal podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Please like and subscribe.
Yes. And all right. Bye.
And all the other information is at the bottom of the page.
Yes.
Please go on YouTube
and subscribe.
And subscribe.
Yeah.
Marriage Can Heal podcast, and all the links in the about section is there.
Yes.
The link tree and all the other links and stuff are there.
All right, guys.
Peace.
See ya.
Drop the beat now.